Hi guys, my name is Tessa and we are going to do a class today for balance. And this class is especially geared towards seniors. So if you're a little bit older and you are new to yoga, this is perfect for you, or if you've been practicing for a while. So let's go ahead and get started at the front of our mat. And if you have a block, then it's definitely really handy to have. Not necessary, but helpful. So let's all start in a standing position. And if you would just separate your feet about hip distance apart. And some of the things that I'm going to be doing might seem pretty basic, but they can be really helpful for balance. So I'd like you to just do a mental scan starting in your feet and just from right to left, kind of balance your weight. And soften your knees. You don't want to lock your knees back. You want them to feel fluid, but feeling that strength in your thighs as you bring that attention up. And notice if you're overarching in your low spine and tuck that tailbone in a little bit. And bring that attention into your shoulders. Are you kind of rounding forward and start to roll those shoulders back? I know I tend to kind of round in my shoulders. And just bring that head back so that it's nice and supported and it's not leaning forward, and just kind of rock back and forth really gently, feeling your weight start to fall onto each foot evenly. And I'd like you to bring your arms overhead, just feeling length in that spine, palms face towards one another, and really just reach towards the sky, letting your shoulders drop. Feeling space in your spine, and notice your core here, just being mindful of our core, and keep that length in the spine. Go ahead and drop the arms, and keeping that nice alignment, go ahead and bring your feet together. And a big part of healthy balance is core strength, and not just like when we're working out, but like really engaging our core on a daily basis. So this might seem simple, but it's really helpful. So I'd like you to you can cross your fingers or put your hands on your hips and just transfer your weight to the left foot and just lift that right foot. And this forces you to engage your core. And again, are you overarching in that low spine? Tuck the tailbone forward and transfer that weight to your right foot. So just transfer that weight and you're going to feel that core engage. This is a place where bad habits can be a little more noticeable and it's easier to fix them here. So notice if you're locking your knee back, and keep that softness in your knee, strengthen your core and lengthen your spine. And let's transfer our weight to the left. We're going to do this a few times, bringing the knee higher and higher. So transfer that weight to your left. And feeling rooted through your foot, go ahead and just lift that knee and see if you can keep the strength in your core. The weight can kind of move into your hip a little more. So really squeeze that core and keep those shoulders back, tuck the tailbone in and lengthen through the spine. And opposite side, go ahead and transfer the weight. And the key to healthy balance is moving slowly, not trying to rush. So go ahead and bring that left knee up a little bit higher and lengthen through the spine. This is where you need to be even more mindful of keeping that health in your low back, tucking the tailbone in and lengthening through the spine. And go ahead and bring your hands in front of you. So you want your arms at a 90-degree angle. And you're just gonna lift that right knee, stay rooted through your left foot, and you wanna work towards bringing that knee up towards your hand without bringing the hand down, not cheating. So opposite side, and really squeeze your core. And again, this might seem really simple, but it's really helpful in your yoga practice and what we're gonna be working towards. See if you can bring that leg to the left hand. And we're gonna do this a few times, not staying quite as long. So at your own pace, I'd like you to squeeze your core and bring that knee up towards the hands, and notice if you are starting to lean forward and really keep that integrity of the spine as you work. And if you need to bring your hands a little bit lower, you can. And just at your own pace, I want you to squeeze your core as you bring the knee up. Keep that length in the spine and health in the low back. And one more, really squeezing the core, keeping softness in the hips if you can. And I am really starting to sweat a little bit. And go ahead and bring your feet down. We're gonna work our way into a Vinyasa, a yoga flow. So go ahead and bring the arms overhead, feeling length in the spine. Tuck the tailbone forward and reach back, just a soft back bend. And coming forward nice and slow, you can slide your hands down the legs. You can grab hold of your calves or your ankles and just start to pull yourself in towards your legs. Softness in the knees. And go ahead and half forward fold, look up, roll those shoulders back. And full forward fold, go ahead and grab hold. And just use your hands to help you move a little bit deeper. You can bend your knees just slightly. And if you need to bend your knees a little bit more, that's okay. Just try and keep strength in your thighs. Stay rooted through your feet. And maybe bend your knees a little bit more. So spread your fingers nice and wide, and you can put your hands on the mat. And we're just gonna walk ourselves back into plank, focusing on that core strength, which helps a lot with balance. And just tuck that tailbone in and press the thighs back. If this feels like too much, just bring your knees to the ground. And softness in your elbows, strength in your core. Go ahead and press your thighs back, downward facing dog, letting those heels fall towards the mat, feeling length in the spine, and pressing in between your thumb and forefinger, just enjoying that length in the spine. And some deep breaths here. If you feel a little top heavy, you might need to just engage those quads a little bit more, your thighs. And coming down into child's pose. If your hips are a little bit tighter, you might need to stack your forearms. So big toes together, and you can just bring your knees a little wider than hip distance apart. And so as we let our hips fall towards our heels, that's where tightness in the hips is going to show up. So just start to work your way down. And once you've reached a point where your hips aren't moving as much anymore, you can start to stack your forearms. You can bring your head onto the floor. And wherever you're at, just let the head rest on the floor and let the hips soften towards the heels. And notice your breath. And deep breaths here. I like to breathe in through my nose and out through my mouth. And go ahead and walk the hands forward, feeling even more length in the spine. As you press those palms and just letting the hips fall a little bit more. Breathing into those hips. And let's come into tabletop. Go ahead and stack your hips over your knees and your shoulders over your wrists. And just warming up the spine. Inhale around your spine. And exhale, open those shoulders. And a few at your own pace. And this next asana is actually really good for balance and core strength. So just feel a softness in your elbows. You don't want to be locking your elbows. Go ahead and spread your fingers wide, feeling nice and mindful in your hands, and just lift that left leg. So pressing your thighs back and your tailbone in, softness in the elbows. I'd like you to just squeeze your core. And the challenge here is to keep pressing that thigh back and the tailbone in. And notice your breath. Notice if you're holding your breath. Go ahead and lower that leg. And opposite leg, lift that right leg, pressing the thigh back and the tailbone in. Notice if you're collapsing in your front body and really keep length in the arms, but softness in the elbows. And I'd like you to really reach through your toe tips, engaging the quads. That quad, pressing the thigh back and the tailbone in. And lower that leg. And opposite leg, go ahead and bring that left leg up and feeling our core engage even more. If you feel ready, go ahead and lift that right arm. And if you kind of need to go back and forth, that's a great way to work. So reach through your toe tips and reach through your fingertips. So floppy hands and feet makes it actually harder. So reaching through our limbs. And opposite side, go ahead and lift that right leg. Reaching through the toe tips, go ahead and lift that left arm, reaching through the fingertips. And again, kind of going back and forth with the arm is a great way to work. And really reach, engaging that core. And come on down and big toes together, knees apart, and just opening up the hips a little bit more. Go ahead and let the hips fall towards the heels, and child's pose, just taking a little break. Doing a great job. And just deep inhales and exhales. Again, go ahead and walk the hands forward, feeling length in the spine. And coming into tabletop position, stacking the hips and the shoulders. And we are going to do that one more time, last time. So go ahead and lift that left leg and lift the right arm. If you're ready for something a little more challenging, go ahead and angle your leg and your arm. So reaching through the toe tips, reaching through the fingertips, wherever you're at, really focusing on the integrity of the spine, lengthen the spine. And opposite side, go ahead and lift that right leg and the left arm. Reach through the toe tips and the fingertips, and you can just angle your arm and your leg. This really forces the core to engage in a whole new way. And just another breath. And go ahead and lower the legs. And coming right up into dog pose, go ahead and bring your forefingers forward. This helps the shoulders to open up a little more. And you can just tuck your toes under, coming right up into downward facing dog. The arms might feel a little bit tired after the work we did, so really pressing the thighs back. And slowly start to walk your feet forward. Coming into forward fold with our feet hip distance apart. And just soft bend in the knees, half fold. And full position, go ahead and grab hold. Coming a little bit deeper this time. Notice if as you pull, you're crowding your ears with your shoulders, and just relax your shoulders. And coming a little deeper. And coming up, press through the feet, reach through the arms and the hands. Just a soft back bend, soft knees, feeling rooted through your feet as you reach back. And coming to a standing position. And I'm actually going to turn so that it's easier for you to see this next position. So we're going to do a little bit more core work. So we're actually going to do the same thing that we kind of started with. And go ahead and just see if you can get that knee a little bit higher. And as you bring the knee up, I want you to squeeze your core. And the key here is to be honest with yourself. So just kind of notice if you're leaning forward at all. And I'd like you to keep that length in the spine and really squeeze your core. And this is also a place where you can practice balance and core strength at the same time. And if this feels really easy, you can actually do a little jog. And if this feels easy, I'd like you to actually start to hold a little bit longer on each side and really squeeze the core. And this also forces us to work on balance a little more. So really staying rooted through that standing foot and squeezing our core, keeping that spine nice and long. I'm starting to lose my breath a little bit. And this looks easy, but it's really not. It's actually pretty challenging. And just one more on each side. Squeeze that core, feeling rooted through the foot. And you can just rest your arms by your sides. And we're working towards tree pose, one of my favorite poses. So just like when we started class, go ahead and transfer your weight to your left foot. And I'd like you to just press your right foot against your left, what's that called? Shin. It's the same thing of keeping your attention in your foot, stay rooted through your foot, keep lengthening through your spine, and just start to kind of walk your foot up the leg a little bit. You can put your hands on your hips and go ahead and drop that right foot and opposite foot. Transfer that weight. So I'm trying to move not super slow and not super fast. Just with balancing work is a little more challenging. Same thing on this right side, walking the foot up, and you can bring your hands on your hips. If you're really struggling with balance, you can actually bring your arms out to the side and it can really help. And go ahead and lower that foot. And we're going to come a little bit deeper if you can. Just transfer that weight to the left foot, same thing. And if this is where you need to work today, that's perfectly good place to work. It's really all the same. So if you feel comfortable, you can actually reach down. This is the hardest part for me. You can reach down and just start to bring that foot up the leg. And that's really the most challenging part. So once the leg is up there, same thing. So just rooting down through the foot and strong thigh, lengthen through the spine. You can bring your arms out to the side for balance. And the arms overhead. And really keep your attention in the standing foot and go ahead and lower. And opposite side, go and transfer the weight to the right foot. And you can reach down, just really keep your attention on that standing foot. Stay anchored, especially below your big toe. And full tree pose, staying rooted through the foot, the standing foot. Lengthen through the spine. You can bring the arms out to your side to help with balance. You can bring your arms overhead. And soften your face, soften your abdomen. And go ahead and release. Thank you so much for coming to today's class. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you next time.
Join us for 14 and 30-day programs, hour-long classes, and much more on our yoga app, Yoga Plus by Psyche Truth. It's free to download and features a variety of wellness content, including yoga, fitness, Pilates, guided meditations, and interviews with dozens of wellness experts.